Hey, welcome to tonight's special edition. How to eat your favorite foods on the holidays and still get in great shape. And I'm going to share with you exactly what I do. What's up, E? What's going on, Terrell Lloyd? Spider-Man 39. What's going on, ladies and gents? So, what's going on, Karen Hoffman? Be just. I like it. So hey, if this is your first time, go ahead and just put a yes in the comment box and let me kind of figure out where you're at. What's going on, Pete? And we'll kind of start to just get rolling here in a minute. We'll let everyone kind of trickle in here for a second. Yes, awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by. How do we get connected? Be just. Awesome. I appreciate it. XC Ryder, this is your second time. I recognize you. What's up, Pete, my brother? How are you? So all of you that are new, hey, I'm super honored and grateful that you're taking the time to invest it with me and my Chicago. Awesome. My number one priority is to always make sure that I provide the best value that I can, that I know, and to make sure that I serve you at the highest level possible. So I appreciate you for being here, and you'll probably find that there's a lot of regular people already on here right now, as far as Eric and Pete Mazza and some other people, and there'll probably be some more trickling in here in a little bit. But tonight, Panama City, Florida, awesome. Welcome. So hey, so for all my newbies, as a matter of fact, for all of you, before we get started on the content that I have provided, I would like to know what your biggest struggle is right now. That way, if I come across or maybe take a beeline for a minute, what's up, Teresa? I can answer that and serve you at the same time. So if you can, go ahead and tell me what your biggest challenge is right now. And if you don't mind, please share it with your people if you don't mind. Back soreness. Left side, right side? And I'm jamming some Jesus Jones EMF, right side. Burden about doing, or burden with a male figure. Alcohol, right on. So one of the things to consider with alcohol is it affects the liver. So really consider some potential resentment. Let me know if that you too, Spider-Man. Let me know if resentment resonates with you, and I'll help you out with that for sure. The best thing for you to do, arthritis and cycling, I'll talk about that one in a second. Connect with me on our website, thinkgreatloseweight.com. Go there, put your name and email in there. That way we can stay connected. And I always open up a free conversation to those that just come aboard and are serious about their health. So if you're looking to take your health to the next level and you would love to connect with me, this is if you're catching the replay, if you're catching live, go to our website, thinkgreatloseweight.com, go to About Us, and then my section where it says Brian Johnson, at the bottom of my bio, there's a link where you can literally click on it. You can fill out my application. It takes about 5 minutes. And this is so I can get a great idea of how to best serve you when we have a conversation. And if you're looking to have a conversation, that's how that process is started. So I'll be happy to serve you. And let's do it. I bought a foam roll. I was just laying on mine just now, man. It's a life changer. So arthritis from cycling. One of the things to consider with arthritis is that, and you'll find, what's going on, Lori? Arthritis is typically from emotional anger. Wherever it shows up in your body is going to be indicative of what emotional system is functioning. Now, you, Spider-Man, or XC Ryder, who just said this, you've only been on, like, this is your second call with me. So I'm talking about some stuff that's going to be a little outside of most people's boxes. Like, I'm talking to you about body language and emotional code and how specific emotions show up in the form of specific symptoms on our body in specific places on our body that also represent different pieces of information. For example, if you have arthritis in your first two fingers or your wrist, your index finger on your right hand is about giving direction. So anger about giving direction, potentially this is your right side, so male figure. There's a lot of different questions, but I'm just opening up some files with you, so to speak, so you may start to resonate. And I can have a personal conversation with you about this stuff too, but arthritis in our wrist is anger about not being flexible with what we're handling. So there's a lot of different things that we can kind of get into, and we'll kind of get around to that one in a second. All right, so if you feel called, share it. I would appreciate it. If not, it's all good. Here we go. So here's the thing to consider, and what I've jotted down is I was actually having some dreams about this last night. It's probably because of all the sugar I had from all the candy, and I was thinking, what's a good topic to talk on today? Thank you, Lori. Thank you, E. I said, what's a good topic to talk on today? And I thought today, since holidays was around, Thanksgiving's coming up this month, Christmas around the corner, there's going to be a lot of festivities. And I think it's really important to understand that the way I teach people how to eat and how to diet and how to get in shape is a realistic lifestyle. It's not being deprived of anything. It's welcome, Curism. It's understanding your body and understanding how it responds to certain foods and understanding what foods you get to eat to produce the results and understanding what foods you can still eat in the form of reward meals or holiday meals and still hit your goals and learn how to minimize the stress or the backlash from having reward meals and holiday baskets of candy and stuff like that. So with this in mind, I basically created 5 tools that I use that I'm going to share with you. Here's the body language. Welcome, Tiffany. There's 5 tools that I created that I use, and I'm going to share with you exactly what I do so you understand how to take your health. When I eat fruit, my lip swells up. Don't eat fruit. Which one? You must be allergic to it. Welcome, Inlopeman. So here we go. So number 1. This is probably one of the biggest tools that I would say helps me to drop my body fat down and helps me to drop a significant amount of weight, and that's doing fasted cardio. Fasted cardio, for example, I have a treadmill and elliptical at my house. My elliptical was my best $600 investment I've probably ever made because I use it almost 4 to 5 days a week, okay? I do it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. I do it for anywhere for 30 to 45 minutes. Now, when I say on an empty stomach, if I'm supposed to eat my meal at 6, I don't start doing cardio at 6. That means I'm up at 5 and then I eat my meal at 6. Now, when I say cardio, I'm talking like a zone 1 activity. So zone 1 for me is anywhere from 110 beats a minute to 118 beats a minute. Let me get some water. And let me explain to you why I do it in those specific heart rate zones, okay? It's important for people to understand that there's a massive difference between working right and working hard. A lot of people, when they start trying to get in better shape, they're like, man, I'm going to go to the gym twice a day and I'm going to do cardio twice a day and do my workouts all the time. And that's fine and dandy. But if your nutrition is not supporting that, then you are completely wasting your time and your energy. So doing zone 1 cardio fasted, which means on an empty stomach, which means that when I'm doing my cardio at 110 to 118 beats a minute, I have lots of oxygen coming in. The most important thing for you to remember is that when you're turning to burn body fat, scientifically proven, scientifically proven that our body burns the most fat to the tune of 99% from fat fuel storages when we're in a zone 1. Now, everybody's zone 1 is a little bit different. Depends on what your blood pressure is, what your resting heart rate is, and all that stuff, your age. There's a formula that you can use actually called the Carvonen formula. It's K-A-R-V-O-N-E-N. Carvonen formula will actually help you put all of your heart rate reserves and all the information that you need in there to figure out what your zone 1 heart rate is. Very critical to understand how to utilize this information so you're burning the fuel that you want. Now, if you go play basketball, you're doing sports, you're doing MMA, or you're doing boxing and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, you're going to be out of a zone 1 most of the time. You're probably going to be in a zone 3, zone 2 top, zone 3 to zone 4 more than likely, which sometimes is an all-out type of a sprint. That's a completely different type of energy source that you are using. Now, for example, if you went and had a bunch of candy and a bunch of sugars and everything from the night before, you could probably do a little bit of both. You could probably do some type of interval training where you're doing cardiovascular at a higher heart rate or higher RPM, and you could even switch it down some. And the reason why I say that is because if you had a lot of sugar, sometimes it's better to do more intense activity to burn all that glycogen out of your bloodstream that's available. Okay? Now here's the thing. The important part to consider here is this, is not everybody is the same. Matter of fact, no one is the same. So what I encourage you to do is get a body fat measuring device so you can measure your body fat. This way, you can check it every 5 to 7 days and you can see exactly what your body is doing. That way, you have objective data to make decisions off of. Most people don't check their measurements and they only go by the scale. And when the scale doesn't move, they think they're wasting their time and they stop. But what you don't understand, though, is that just because a scale may not be moving, if your nutrition is set up properly, you're probably putting on muscle tissue and dropping body fat, which results in no weight lost. So when you hear the term, oh, I lost 7 pounds in 7 days, 7 pounds of what? Fat, muscle, or water? Most people have no idea, and that's why that whole weight loss thing is such a big scam. Okay? Any questions on that before I hop on to point number 2? Point number 1 was fasted cardio. That's one of the best ways to burn off all the stuff that you ate the night before and to actually get ahead. So if there's no questions on that one, all right, no questions so far, so we'll go ahead and go to 2. If you have questions, just throw them up there. I'll go back and answer them. So the next thing you want to talk about, or that I'm going to talk about, is doing blended vegetable smoothies. So when we understand, when we have holiday foods and we have reward meals like pizzas and cupcakes, you can have whatever coffee you want. When you have blended smoothies and vegetable smoothies, you are taking in mass amounts of micronutrients with very minimal amounts of calories. So your body has superior nutrition, so it's not starving and it doesn't think that it's starving, so it's still conserving your muscle tissue, and it's allowing you to drop down your calories lower than normal so you can actually cut into all the things you ate the night before. Now this is also important too, because if you've had a bunch of pizza and a bunch of dough and a bunch of bread type foods, having the blended smoothie, and the reason why I say blended and not juiced is because blended, you're going to have all of the fibers that go with it that help you to get out stuff out of your system through inducing your bowel movements and having the fiber to help with that process. That's very important. That's one of the biggest things. One of the issues I have with juicing is that you're taking away a lot of the medicines that are extremely helpful for you, because a lot of them are found in the skins, the seeds, and the rinds. Very important. Now, let's talk about point 3. I'm going to talk, this is what I'm talking about right now. So Pete just has a good question. We're going to talk about the specific vegetables that I use during the day and in my smoothies to help kick in the detoxification factor faster. Okay, so here we go. Your top detoxifying food. These are all from the grocery store. Number 1 is asparagus. Asparagus is number 1. Avocado is number 2. Broccoli is number 3. Now let's talk about why, okay? Have any of you heard of the term glutathione or phase 2 enzyme? Have you heard of either one of those? Glutathione and a phase 2 enzyme. Any of that sound familiar? Yes. All those who've watched my nutrition video sounds pretty familiar. Got it. About 40, 60. Okay, what's going on, Lisa Ward? All right, so let's talk about them just for a second. So glutathione is a really important word to remember. You'll probably hear a lot more of it as we kind of move forward in health and wellness. But glutathione is a protein-based enzyme that our bodies make when it's healthy. Our liver makes this. And what the phase 2 enzyme does is it literally will detoxify every cell in our body. For example, asparagus is your top glutathione-containing food. And how many of you, when you have had asparagus, notice that your urine smells when you have asparagus? That's because it's pulling the toxins out of your kidney and your liver, and it's pushing them out through your urine stream. That's why you notice that with asparagus. That's your top detoxification food. It's literally pulling all the toxins out of your kidney and your liver, mine included. Second food is avocado. That's your second highest glutathione containing food. And your third one is broccoli. Now, why are these important? They're extremely important because if you notice, probably wherever you live, maybe even Chicago, tell me if this is for both of you, for Spider-Man and I think something best, in Panama City and Chicago. When you go outside, do you ever notice that you have chemtrails? Like planes going through the sky that are just squirting this crap all over the sky. It looks like somebody just got a paintbrush and went all over it. Do you notice those where you live? Or do they have them? It seems every other city I've gone to. Utah has them. California has them. It's crazy. And long story short, those are all chemicals that are floating around and being added into our environment. Not counting what we're eating, not counting what we're breathing. Yeah, they're everywhere. It's not counting that. But what glutathione does is it helps our body to detoxify. That's our natural mechanism. Now, there's 3 supplements that you can take that can dramatically induce and help to create more glutathione, okay? So anytime someone has neurological issues like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, our glutathione availability is dramatically affected. 3 things you can take: glutamine, glycine, and N-acetylcysteine. Those are the 3 things that you can take that will actually help to include or increase our natural glutathione production. I would encourage you to have asparagus multiple times a week, maybe even multiple times a day. Okay? Now, one of the other things I do, and we'll talk about real quick, is we'll talk about a ketogenic diet. Now, when I've had a higher amount of carbohydrates, like when I have a reward day or when I have my load day of carbohydrates, repeat which part? So when I have my higher day of carbohydrates, my next day I will switch back over to having mainly just proteins and fats. Glutamine, glycine, and another one called NAC. It's spelled N-A-C. It's spelled N-acetylcysteine, but you can source it by the name NAC, N-A-C. Ketogenic diets have really hit it big when you talk about the Atkins diet, and nowadays there's way healthier ways to do it. Yes, and I can tell you that has been one of the main catalysts for me to start dropping my body fat lower than normal and coming off of like 223 to 225 pounds I was stuck at for literally probably a year, finding out how my body was functioning again, because I've been 253 times, and what I have found is that as I've gotten older, I'll be 38 this month, my body has responded significantly different to what's going on and to the foods that I put in it. So for me, I've gone mainly vegetarian and vegan. Now here's the deal. I still have red meats on occasions. I still have chicken on occasions. I had sushi yesterday. For the most part, I don't cook chicken, turkey, or fish or steak at my house. I have a vegetarian protein source. I eat sweet potatoes. I eat lots of avocados. I eat lots of coconut oil. I can tell you that by doing this, my body has dramatically started dropping more body fat. And it's been really crazy because I feel better. And it allows me to have reward meals and reward days and holiday meals. And my body has completely soaked up all the carbohydrates in my muscles. And then my body will fill up in a good way. And the next day when I drop my nutrients back the other direction for proteins and fats, my body just drops like 2 or 3 pounds each cycle. Okay, carb cycling is immensely effective. Have any of you heard of carb cycling? If you've heard of carb cycling, say yes. Question was, have you heard of carb cycling? How do your muscles recover on whey? That's a good question, my friend. One of the things to really consider is that whey protein, if it's coming from dairy and it's coming from grain-fed dairy, yes, I'm doing that with Mark. Yeah, it will, because you're detoxing. If those cows are being fed grain, that's very acidic, which means you're already going to be more lethargic and more acidic. When you're more acidic, that means your body is going to have more lactic acid buildup because there's less oxygen availability. Some things that I would really try for you as an endurance rider, I'm assuming from your picture and from your comments, get a vegetarian and a vegan protein and try it out. Since you don't teach high protein meats. I teach balance. You know, for me, I have 5 ounces of protein a meal. It just depends on, but what it sounds like for you, balance is going to be more in the form of moderate proteins, but with it looks like with your activities, you would be better served having like a 50% carbohydrate ratio, because you're going to invest most of your time when you're training or biking in a zone 3 to a zone 4 heart rate, more than likely. And we can have a conversation if you would really like to dig into your nutrition and let's talk more about it specifically. I'll be happy to entertain that for you. So, I meant eat. Not sorry. Oh yeah, I got it. So I still have eggs. I have lean protein sources. I still have amino acids too. And I still have meat maybe once or twice a week, so I'm totally not cutting it out fully. I would say maybe like 80%. And I can tell you that it was a pretty amazing shift on what I felt like and what I noticed with my nervous system, what I noticed with my clarity of thoughts, what I noticed with my quality of sleep. All of those things were significantly affected when I made the transition. My only thought to myself is that I wish I would have done it sooner. I just didn't understand where I was going to get my protein from to conserve my muscle without eating 10-pound salads. I was like, I don't have time to eat 10-pound salads all day, and I'm not going to drink vegetable smoothies all day long either. I was like, that's not going to work for me. I have to have some satiation and some dense foods for my body type. So the protein source that I use is spelled S-E-I-T-A-N. Yeah. Try this stuff out. Spelled S-E-I-T-A-N. It's called seitan. It's a wheat gluten protein, and interestingly enough, it doesn't affect me like a pasta or any type of a gluten type of product, like a bread. I don't get swollen eyes. I don't have a hard time breathing or anything like that. So for me, it works really well, and I don't have to cook it. And there's 7 grams of protein per ounce, which is more than turkey or fish. Unless you're getting a really clean cut of tuna that's very high grade, you're not really going to find a 7 grams of protein per ounce in most foods. You're typically talking about 6 on a high end. So for me, it worked really well. That's one of my meal sets. I probably have that like 4 times a day, or 3 depending on if I have eggs. But we can talk more about that. So let's get into point number 4. And it's interesting because Lori already kind of said this, and she talked about alkaline water. Now, she also talked about being sick for 3 days because there's a lot of toxins that you have floating around in your body that get released. One of the main things and the benefits of alkaline water, and for you, XC Rider, having a Kangen water machine will probably make a dramatic difference on your performance. And I'll tell you why. I have one. I've had it for about 5 years. Alkaline water in specific, when we're talking about when we have foods that are off the chart like processed foods, sugary foods, cakes and pies, breads, and things that really taste good, like on holidays, like all the stuff we had for Halloween yesterday, remember that all of that equals acidity. Alkaline is the opposite of acidity. The difference between acidic and alkaline is that alkaline is presence of oxygen. Acidity is not. Oh, you have one? Awesome. What was 3? 3 was vegetable smoothies, asparagus, avocado, and broccoli were the 3. Having a Kangen water machine specifically, it takes out you having to go and buy multiple bottled waters that have been sitting there forever. So not only do you not get an alkaline water, like if they're advertising a 9.5, you're probably going to get a 7 or an 8 because there's no telling how long that water's been in there. Plus, what happens when it's in a cheap grade plastic, if it gets heated, you're leaching xenoestrogens in your water bottle, and that is not good. This is a BPA-free plastic. It's pretty thick. I also have a glass jar that I drink out of. But xenoestrogens are hugely crucial in the form of a negative way. Like they are thousands of times stronger than normal estrogen. So breast tissue cancers, prostate cancers, very prominent from plastics or xenoestrogens that are leaching into our water. They also have them in our food. It also sterilizes men and women both so that you may not be able to reproduce. So outside of having the prostate and the breast cancer situations, that's your top promoter of breast and prostate cancer situations is xenoestrogens. So try to avoid drinking plastic waters that you don't know where they're coming from. That's one of the benefits of having a machine, because it takes it through your tap water and it runs it through some processes and cleans it up. And then you can put it in a glass, or you can store it in your fridge in a glass, or whatever you choose. You're just cutting down an immense amount of plastic usages that you're having from a recycling perspective. And plus, you're getting it for pennies on the dollar because you're getting it from your tap water versus buying $2 and $3 waters. They're not even getting what they're advertising. Okay? So, XC Rider, this is for you. Kangen water, really for all of us, and Kangen water has a restructuring component. Restructuring means that it takes the water molecule and it shrinks it down by like 2/3. I can give you all the information for that. Just message me. It breaks the water down and it restructures the water molecule. Here's the easiest way I could give you a visual idea of how it works. If you were to take a handful of golf balls and you were to throw them through a chain link fence, you're probably going to get a few, right? And if you were to take a handful of marbles and do the same thing, do you think the probability of you getting more of those marbles through that chain link fence is higher? For sure. Consider the chain link fence is our cells, and the marbles is the water molecule that has been shrunk. So now all the marbles contain all the nutrients and oxygen for our cells, and now they can easily pass through the chain link fence and be absorbed and sucked up by our body. Now I can tell you this, I have seen multiple people come off a transplant list. I've had injuries of my own, like my rotator cuff on my left shoulder used to be thrashed. It was healed up in 3 weeks. Arthritis is also an acidic body. Outside of the emotional component to consider of anger, alkalinity is your best friend. More vegetables, more green foods, more alkaline water, more oxygen breathing. So remember, when you're talking arthritis, that is an acidity issue. It's also an emotional anger situation to consider. Where it shows up at on your body is also going to be indicative of where it's functioning at emotionally. Right side male or doing, left side female or receiving. And we can get into all that on a personal level. Welcome. Any questions over that, what we just discussed on point 4? And then I'm going to go into point 5. Yeah, Pasadena is really polluted. Any questions on any of those so far? So for those of you who just popped in, yeah, my pleasure. If you're really looking to dig into it, shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll be glad to have a conversation with you. Connect with me for sure on thinkgreatloseweight.com. That way we can stay connected. So let's talk about point number 5 and then we'll be done. We just want to keep it short and sweet tonight. So point number 5, I have 2 combined, and that's going to be exercise and sleep. Now, when I say exercise, it doesn't mean you have to be in a gym. Nowadays, we have kind of gone away from the gym to where people use more daily activities like yoga at your house. I just connected with a good friend of mine who's got a massive following on Man Flow Yoga, which is all virtual. I can do yoga while I'm sitting here in my office at the house. Works great. But when I say exercise, when I say exercise, I mean that could be your body weight watching YouTube exercises. Just something to move your body, to get your energy flowing, get your blood nice and circulated so it's not stagnant. It will raise your emotional vibration. It will lower your stress immensely. I can tell you that working out is one of the only things outside of God Himself that helped me to stay sane in my life, for sure. I can tell you this much. See that? Body language, blessings returning. I can tell you that if I go 3 days without working out, not good. Not good. I can tell you that's when I start getting really irritated. I start getting really short, and it doesn't work well for myself or people that are involved. So I make sure that I try to do something at least every day. I take a day off, like Sunday I took a whole day off, okay? So I think it's really important. Makes you feel so. Yes, it does, man. Thank you for your input, and you're 100% correct. You know, one of the things to consider that I really don't think people understand how important it is sleep. Like when I say sleep, you should be getting at least 7 hours. I would not do any less than that if you can. Like my sleep hours are 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And sometimes I'll sleep to 7 a.m. if it's a day off or something like that. Make sure you honor yourself when you're sleeping. Like if you notice that you feel tired and you require more sleep, do it. Because that's really when you get revived. That's when your body repairs and grows. That's when your mind has a chance to clear and reset. So making sure that you're getting good sleep. Here's some things to consider. And if you've caught some of my earlier trainings, you'll hear me talk about this. So here, this is for you, Lord. How many of you, by a show of, you could say yes, have an issue sleeping between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m.? What can you do more? We're talking about that right now, my friend. So the question is, answer this question, then I'll get into the answering all those. And welcome, Questing. Do you wake up between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m.? I'm going to help you dial down your sleep real quick. Question is, do you find yourself waking up between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. or maybe not even getting to bed till 1 or 3 a.m.? Yes, to check my daughter's blood sugar. Okay. It's good to be up at that point. So yes, I wake up every couple of hours. Danny, some days, yes. Okay. So for blood sugars, sometimes I don't fall asleep till 4 or 5. All right, so let's talk about this. I can help you with your daughter, Nopalman, on blood sugars, and this is for all of you. So this is important, okay? Understand that our subconscious works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When our conscious mind is asleep, when we're asleep, our subconscious mind is still turning and burning, okay? So with that being said, in Chinese medicine, I'll even show you right here. In Chinese medicine, this is a wheel. All right, later, Pete. So this is a wheel, okay? And this right here is the liver. And every one of these little spots is a 2-hour gap where an organ system takes place, where the energy of that organ system is running during that certain time frame, okay? For example, our liver meridian runs between 1 and 3 a.m. Now you may say, Brian, what in the world does that have to do with what you're talking about? Here's what it has to do with what I'm talking about. Each organ system also has an emotional or an emotion that ties and correlates to it. For example, our liver meridian runs between 1 and 3 a.m. The emotional equivalent to it is resentment. Okay? So if you find yourself waking up between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. consistently, I invite you to consider that you may have some resentment functioning. Okay? And it may be underneath your conscious awareness. It may be something that happened a long time ago around mom or dad. Remember, your subconscious is like a computer. It's going to remember everything. Even things that we run of. Yeah, it is, man. And you're exactly correct, my brother. Our human body is amazing. Like, it expands my mind every day to know that when I'm talking to you, my body is communicating with me and giving me body language. Good. What have you noticed? Anything different? So Lori has known me, we've known each other for a long time, back in high school and intermediate and stuff like that, and been helping her do some stuff for a little while. And our bodies, okay, perfect. Ordered Clark's Minerals, that's good stuff. You should notice a difference with those. So back to sleep. So 1 and 3 a.m. If you find yourself waking up during that time, it's okay. It's just feedback. Here are some solutions that you can plug in. My first suggestion would be inviting you to give yourself permission to forgive whomever you have resentment towards. Mom, dad, former partner. Notice I didn't say ex-partner. Yourself, whatever it may be, it's completely okay. It's just feedback, okay? Another thing that you can do is you can add in milk thistle. Milk thistle is an herb that helps with our liver, that will help you to restore the energy back to your liver, to help you to restore the faith back in that emotional system. I'm talking higher level stuff right now, so just bear with me. If it didn't make sense, keep it simple. Give yourself permission to forgive whoever. Give yourself permission. Go get some milk thistle by Gaia Herbs. I would suggest Gaia Herbs. I think it's the best one. And it's spelled G-A-I-A. I think it's the best herbs that you can get. Okay? That's that one. Now, if you find yourself waking up, when I lay down for bed, I get chronic lower back pain. Well, right side or left side or what? Does it happen when you are asleep, when you wake up? And that's another thing too. Great question. How many of you have woken up in the middle of the night or woken up the next morning like, man, I must have hurt my back or pulled my neck when I was asleep? How many of you have done that? I have a funny story. I think you'll dig it. It's funny, my body language is doing all kinds of stuff. Both as I lay down. Yep. Okay. So here's the deal. Our subconscious, like I said, is running 100% of the time. When we wake up and, oh man, I must have pulled my neck while I was sleeping. We didn't really pull our neck while we were sleeping. That is body language. Wherever that pain or symptom shows up is an identifier to let us know what's functioning emotionally. Now, that's only going to be helpful if you understand what it means. If you truly desire to understand what all these itches and scratches mean, and when pains show up in your body, I highly encourage you to get involved in our body language training program. It is amazing. Out of all the 80,000 hours I have invested in everything that I do and learn and be able to bless and support people with, what's going on, June? Body language, I've seen more miracles happen in seconds with body language than I ever have with food. Like understanding that this means I will. This means I'm seeing differently. 3 scratches means I'm functioning in sorrow with myself because this is about my face on my right side. I'm just throwing some stuff out. If you're really truly looking to become a Jedi of your own health, go to our website, thinkgreatloseweight.com, and check out our body language training program. It's amazing. If you're really looking to take your wellness to the next level, I'll even give you the code if you're truly looking to do it. If you go there and you go to body language and you hit the it'll say coupon and you enter the code BODY, it'll even knock the price down 60% of what it actually is. I'll extend that out for about the next hour. If you want to try it out, check it out. If you have any questions, message me. I'll be glad to pick up the phone and answer some questions for you. And I can tell you that by far that's been a game changer for me consistently, because let me tell you a story. One day or one night I was asleep. I was waking up between the hours of 3 and 5, which is when our lung runs, and that's survival, okay, or fear. I kept having a dream about someone stealing my almond butter all night. And I'm like, what is the deal? Well, I finally woke up and was conscious about it, and of course no one was stealing my almond butter. And the important thing to consider is that when we are dreaming, pay attention to the feelings that your dream. Yeah, wait, it gets better. Pay attention to the feelings that your dreams create. That's what's letting you know what we're functioning on emotionally during the day. For example, someone stealing my almond butter means I had fear of loss. You can't serve 2 masters. It's fear or faith. Well, once I woke up, guess what was hurting? My neck and the bottom of my right foot. Okay? Let me tell you what that means. My neck connects my thinking, knowing, and remembering with my doing. So I'm either thinking about something I don't want to do or doing something I don't want to think about. Right side is masculine side, or a burden about what I'm doing. This is all under body language stuff. I'm just giving you, just bear with me. So the bottom of my foot is about me personally. The top of my foot is about others. My right foot is about me because I'm a male. The bottom of my right foot is about me because I'm a male. Our foot is about standing under or understanding. For me, someone stealing my almond butter and me not understanding how to move forward in faith versus serving fear of loss. I get up out of bed and my foot's hurting because I don't understand how to move forward. So as soon as I said, all right, I give myself permission to think and do with ease, my neck stops hurting. And then I said, I give myself permission to understand how to move forward with what I'm doing. Bottom of my foot stops hurting. That fast. Now, when you understand where these pains are showing up at with our body language training, you will then understand what questions and what to say to get those to go away immediately. It sounds crazy, and here's the other thing. When we break down energetically or emotionally first. which means that anyone who comes down with any type of disease, cancer, thyroid issues, pancreatic issues, kidney issues, there has been an emotional experience that happened first that then turned into a symptom that eventually turns into a dis-ease if it's not dealt with. That's why understanding body language is vastly important, because it helps you to deal with that so you can move through your aches and your pains faster before they turn into something that's unnecessary. You know how many stories I've had of people reaching out to me and saying, man, I have this pain in my back or my shoulder, and I've gone to every doctor in the world, and they say nothing's wrong with me, and they don't know what's going on. Well, it's all emotional. It's emotional things that are going on that haven't been dealt with appropriately, that our body is being used, just like the dashboard of our car, to communicate a message. And if we don't understand what the light means, and we have a light that says put oil in the car, and instead we think it means put water in the car, we're not understanding the right information to solve the issue. Okay? So, outside of sleep, those are your two things for sleep. Yep. Mine is left shoulder for 3 years. So, front or the back of your shoulder? Lopeman? Potential does exist, my brother Mike. We're almost done. I only have one more thing to talk about all around. So here's the thing to consider. Either you have a burden about a female. I'm not sure if you're male or female, either way, you'll tell me in a second. But you either have a burden about a female to consider, or you have a burden about receiving something, which means you have some unforgiveness, some anger, some resentment. Think about this. You said 3 years. So what happened 3 years ago that you have not forgiven, or you have a female that you haven't forgiven? Does any of that resonate with you at all? Ding, 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 ding. My daughter. So that's where you and I would start and work through this stuff. And it's really fast. I mean, ask Lori. Lori, pains will go away in seconds if that's the right issue. And this is all the stuff our body language training goes into. So let's talk about the last thing, and then we'll be done. So the next thing is going to be exercise. Not forgiveness necessary. Her health is bad. I may be able to help you with that too, my friend. So that may be about burden too. Yeah, hey, reach out to me. And let me see if I can provide some value and some support for you. So y'all know, in case you have someone who is of need, as I work with people with Parkinson's and cancer and AIDS and things like that nutritionally. So there may be some things that I can help you with to help you to provide better options for your daughter, if you will. And I'll be happy to do so. So the last one is really exercise. So one of the things to consider is outside of fasted cardio is making sure that you're exercising on a consistent basis. That will immensely help you to stay in consistent shape. It will help you to be able to enjoy your foods, from your holiday foods to your reward meals to whatever. Having some type of exercise program is ideal. And you may, even if you're not doing nothing right now, what I invite you to do is to take action and create a mini habit. Maybe, for example, you do 5 push-ups every day. Yes, it's not something that is difficult, and no, it's not something that, or it's easy and you could totally not do it. Just pick something that you can do and that you'll commit to do. Do it, build up your momentum, so that way you can start to ease into bigger and more challenging habits. But you get to start somewhere. You have, even if it's just a baby amount, start with a baby amount. All right? So that's all I have for tonight. I wanted to keep it short, keep it kind of precise. Hopefully you got some good value or some nuggets or some things that you can use. I'll open it up for the next 1 or 2 minutes if anyone has any questions. If not, you definitely can connect with me at thinkgreatloseweight.com. If you're interested in taking action and furthering your nutrition knowledge to understand how to empower yourself with wisdom to reverse your symptoms, yes, you're welcome. To reverse your symptoms and to get your energy levels up, maximize your sleep, all this stuff is in our nutrition program on our website. If you desire to do our nutrition program, you can use the code NUTRITION and it will drop half of the payment down. It's all amazing information. We have put our best information in that and have seen lots of miracles. It could be potentially about financial issues. It could be potentially about not feeling supported. It could be potentially about unforgiveness. If you want to reach out to me on a personal level, I could probably provide some better solutions for you. An elopement. Yes, hey, I would love to connect with you about your daughter, and let's see if there's some things that we can help her out with. No obligation, just offering my services to you to see if I can help you with some things now to help her to ultimately help you. ThinkGreatLoseWeight.com is the best way to get a hold of me if you're connected with me on Facebook. And Think Great Lose Weight on Facebook. If I'm in Austin, can I see you? Possibility. Let me know when you're here. We can connect. So that's all I got. Have an awesome night. And remember, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Later, Mike.